Besides the evident color difference between under and over roasted coffee, there are other roasting defects we can easily spot without the need of tasting the coffee. These defects are important because they are not a consequence of poor sourcing or bad selection of coffee beans. These defects are a direct consequence of roasters' weak performance. In order to become a better coffee roaster and learn how to avoid these defects, it is paramount to understand their nature and why they occur. Tipping. As you probably know by now, coffee is not a bean, it is actually a seed. And seeds have embryos inside that would eventually become plants. The embryo in a coffee seed is located at one of the tips. If coffee is heated too rapidly during roasting, the coffee embryo, which corresponds to the tenderest part of the bean, will burn before the rest of the bean does. The embryo's combustion and immediate ejection will leave a characteristic burn scar at the tip of the bean. To avoid it, you just need to lower rate of raise and sudden changes of temperature during and before the first crack. Scorching. Scorching happens when the roaster's preheating temperature is too high and the drum speed too slow. Some beans will remain against the drum's wall for too long. Therefore, they will show burn scars. To avoid it, you should increase the speed of your roaster's drum. If the roaster doesn't allow it, lower your preheating temperature and try with lighter batch loads. Phasing. This defect is similar to scorching, but the scorch marks are only in one side of the bean. This issue usually happens when the beans get trapped in gaps or against the drum wall during the roast. Lower batch loads, higher airflow, and a faster drum rotation will help you out. Chipping. The first crack is a popping noise caused by the water contained inside the bean once it has reached the boiling point. The second crack, however, that happens later on the roast is a lot more powerful. Oils have a higher boiling point than water, and the second crack is triggered once the roasting temperature reaches this point. Sometimes the energy released during the second crack is so intense it leaves a black crater on the bean's surface. Controlling rate of raise after the first crack and lowering your batch loads will mitigate this problem. Underdeveloped beans. Around the world, there are as many roasting profile and techniques as there are cultures. Nevertheless, all of them have something in common. To end the roast, coffee should reach at least the first crack. Although development time may vary, first crack would always be part of any coffee roasting recipe. Underdeveloped beans are coffee beans that show no expansion or fractures, which represent a distinctive characteristic of the first crack. Higher temperatures and/or longer roasting periods should definitely solve the problem.